In our last episode, we found Recon Squad Artemis. But before we could even hit the bunks at the end of the day, Captain Kells gave us a new mission. He told us that supplies have been going missing, and he suspects an inside job. But the strangest thing about this mystery is that rations, and only rations, are what's missing.
The strangest thing is what was stolen. Rations. Only rations. I don't know what to make of it, but it is curious.
He asked us to investigate any way we saw fit. And to start our investigation, we need to head down to the airport and talk to the man in charge of the supply depot, Sergeant Gavil. After landing the vertibird, we find Sergeant Gavil by turning right until we find a desk with a terminal.
Let me guess. Captain Kells sent you?
I'm just looking around.
This is a supply depot, not a tourist attraction. If you don't have business here, clear out.
That's right. You're in charge here?
I am, and you're here about the missing supplies.
The captain said you could brief me on the missing supplies. That's right.
Well, let's take this somewhere more private. Follow me.
He immediately walks away and begins talking, so we can't read the supply depot terminal just now. We'll come back to it. Instead, we follow Sergeant Gavil.
We've converted this section of the terminal into our primary supply depot. Everything the Brotherhood needs to operate passes through here. Supplies from the Pridwin, salvage from the field, we handle it all. Access is strictly limited to the logistics detail, and we track every crate, every bullet, every bolt that comes through that door.
He brings us to a back section of the supply depot. Despite apparently everybody knowing about this, clearly he doesn't want people to overhear what he has to say.
Which is why I don't take kindly to these accusations. I know every soldier in this unit. The thought that anyone would question their loyalty makes me sick. If you've got questions, ask. Otherwise, stay out of our way.
Watch your tone, Sergeant.
Sir.
Sergeant Gavil sounds very defensive. Does he really know all of his soldiers as well as he thinks he does? To find out, we can channel our inner Nick Valentine and use our detective skills to interrogate him.
Tell me about the missing supplies.
We're down over 20 crates, if you believe the scribes. All food. Dried meat, Instamash, mac and cheese. It doesn't make sense. I could see someone stealing weapons or tech, but our thief goes to all this trouble for a lifetime supply of cram.
Tell me about the logistics division.
I've been in charge of this unit for almost 10 years now. We're a small group. We stick together. And we keep the Brotherhood running.
Where should I begin my investigation?
You shouldn't. This is a waste of time. I've already spoken with my men. They haven't seen anything. Tegan's scribes just fouled up the books again. If you insist on questioning someone, go bother Lucia or Clarke. I can spare them.
Lucia and Clarke?
Knight Lucia and Initiate Clarke. They were just posted to this detail a few weeks ago. They're still learning their way around, but I'll have them in shape soon enough. If you have to badger someone with your questions, it might as well be them.
That's all for now, Sergeant.
I need to get back to work. If you have any more questions, go bother Lucia or Clarke. Take my advice. Poke around a little. Then tell the captain to let it go. It's not worth your time or mine.
Wow, the sergeant really does not want us here. That in itself is a tad suspicious. We need to talk to Lucia and Clarke, but before we do, we can head back to Sergeant Gavil's terminal to see if maybe he left any clues there. Inside, we find two options. In the first, incoming supplies, we find 5 entries. In entry 33, 3 steel bundles, 4 cases of 10mm ammunition, 13 stim packs, and 4 missile launcher ammunition. In the next 140, 8 copper sheeting, 10 electrical wiring, 10 iron plating, 12 Type 1 ground barricades, and 4 fragmentation grenades. In the next 156, 2 vertibird replacement rotors, I wonder where they got those, 4 cases of clean water bottles, 10 Med-X, 14 Rad-X, and 2 Mirelurk eggs. Okay, we're finally finding some food here. In the next 170, 8 fiber optic bundles, 2 cases, non-belt feed 5mm ammunition, 2 iBot logic units, 4 Abraxo cleaner, and 10 assorted bottles of liquor for, of course, Proctor Tegan. In the final one, 83, 2 laser rifle firing coils, 12 fusion cores, 3 cases of assorted books for Proctor Quinlan, 10 buff out, and 4 crates of assorted fresh vegetables. That's not a lot of food. But these are recent incoming supplies. Perhaps this theft has been going on a while, and we don't see many of the orders of food that have gone missing. Backing out of incoming supplies, we can now read outgoing supplies. Again, we find 5 entries, starting with the first 0, 1 10mm combat pistol, 2 stim packs, 2 bottles of clean water, 1 fragmentation grenade. In the next one, 10, 50 rounds of 5mm ammunition, 1 5mm man-portable minigun, and 1 combat knife. In the next one, 14, 1 power armor T-60 Knight's helmet, 1 fusion core, 1 laser rifle, Brotherhood of Steel standard configuration. In the next one, 20, 10 copper sheeting, 8 iron plating, 3 bundles of electrical wiring, and 4 boxes of screws. And in the final one, 31, 1 wrench, 2 wonder glue, 10 boxes of metal spatulas, and 1 Fat Man Nuke round. That's a lot of metal spatulas. Why? At any rate, there isn't a lot of food going out. None, in fact. And Gavil doesn't like us snooping on his terminal.
What is it now?
That's all.
Right, well, we only have 2 clues. Talk with Clarke and talk with Lucia. We find both Clarke and Lucia in the supply depot examining the boxes. We'll start by talking with Clarke.
You're here about the thefts, right? Look, I already told Sergeant Gavil everything I know.
Sergeant Gavil said I should speak with you.
Really? Oh, all right. Let's get this over with.
Watch your tone, Initiate.
Sorry, sir.
You already spoke with Gavil?
He questioned the entire unit. None of us saw anything.
I'm conducting this investigation, Initiate. I have some questions for you.
Whoa. This is a formal investigation now? Look, I want to get to the bottom of this as much as anyone. What do you want to know?
What's the security situation here like?
We're in the middle of a hardened military base, under constant guard. Nothing's getting in or out of here without us knowing about it.
You really think the base is that secure?
I do. I mean, I've heard about the Institute's relay. But even if they could get in, they'd never make it back out.
Tell me about the missing supplies.
I really don't know anything. I've heard the rumors same as everyone else. But that's all.
What rumors have you heard?
Well, they say raiders with stealth boys hit the terminal every night. That supplies disappear faster than we can bring them in. It's a lot of garbage. I usually work the night shift. Believe me, the only thing you risk dying of is boredom.
Tell me about the logistics unit.
There are what, 10 of us now? Something like that. Our division reports to Proctor Teagan, up on the Pridwin. Sergeant Gavil handles day-to-day operations. He's run logistics for years. Other than the sergeant, there's Lucia, me, the scribes, and a few other knights who aren't fit for field duty.
After he mentions Lucia, we find an option to pass a charisma check to ask him why he didn't use her title. And if we fail...
Lucia?
I'm sorry, Knight Lucia. We were both assigned here a few weeks ago.
But if we succeed...
Lucia?
Excuse me, Knight Lucia. We joined the Brotherhood together. She'll probably get assigned to a patrol team soon. Me? I'll still be stuck here.
That's all, Initiate.
Sir?
And that's it for Initiate Clarke. He seems to have a bit of an attitude problem, but he shaped up quickly under our interrogation. He offered a preposterous rumor that it was raiders with stealth boys, but then he dismissed that rumor himself, noting that he's on night duty every night. And we get the impression that he knows Lucia rather well, comfortable enough with her to talk about her without using her title. Next, we can move on to Knight Lucia.
Copper wire. Could you tell me where... Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think we've met. Knight Lucia, Logistics. What can I do for you, Knight?
Just looking around.
Don't lie to me, Knight. This is a restricted area. No one just looks around in here. You must be here to investigate the missing supplies. We've all heard about it.
Do you have time for some questions?
Oh. You must be here about the missing supplies. I'm not sure I can be of much help, but, what do you want to know?
I'm conducting an investigation into the missing supplies.
The captain appointed an investigator? Is it really that bad?
I have some questions about the missing supplies.
I'm not sure I can be of much help, but, what do you want to know?
What's the security like around here?
It's tight. At least 2 knights and a scribe on duty at all times. And we've got the entire base right here. We don't have much to worry about.
Is there any way to get past all that security?
Well, you'd have to be in logistics. We're the only ones authorized to bring supplies in or out. Then what? Well, there's no way you'd get a full crate of supplies off base. With all the patrols, someone would notice. But why steal anything in the first place? The Brotherhood provides everything we need. No one here has any connection to the Commonwealth. I don't know. None of this makes any sense.
Do you know anything about the missing supplies?
Not really. I've heard it's mostly food and, vacuum tubes? No, sorry, they just lost those.
You lost some vacuum tubes? How often are supplies lost around here?
Someone had just filed them in the wrong place, apparently. Clarke found them the next day. The little things do happen, but it never amounts to much. The sergeant may complain, but Proctor Tegan and his scribes are very thorough. 1 or 2 crates, maybe, but not this many.
What's it like working in logistics?
It's not a bad post. Sergeant Gavil is tough, but I've learned a lot from working here. I guess some people take to it and some don't. Like Clarke.
With that, we can pass a difficult orange charisma check to ask her more about Clarke. And if we fail...
What about Clarke?
We joined the Brotherhood around the same time, about 2 years ago. We always seem to end up together. New recruits and all.
But if we succeed...
What about Clarke?
We joined the Brotherhood around the same time, about 2 years ago. We've always been friends. Well, until recently.
We now unlock a very difficult red charisma check to ask her why she's no longer friends with Clarke. And if we fail...
Why? What happened?
I don't know, honestly. He's just been distant lately. I'm sorry. It's probably nothing.
But if we succeed...
It was after the battle.
The battle?
Battle for the airport. It was our first real combat mission. It was something to see. The Pridwin coming in under full vertebrate escort, guns blazing. We were one of the first teams to hit the ground. Dozens of ferals. We opened fire and cut them down, and hunted the ones that tried to run. It was everything I had hoped for. But Clarke, he hasn't been the same since. It's like he's just given up. Since then, I've noticed him slipping off by himself, once or twice a day. I never thought much of it, but do you think you could follow him? See what he's doing? His shift should be over in a few minutes. Maybe it's nothing, but I'm worried about him.
And it's Initiate Clarke whom Lucia thinks is being suspicious. And that makes sense, given everything that we just learned. Security at the airport is tight. There's no way someone could have infiltrated it. The only ones with access to the supplies are those who work in logistics, like Clarke. There's no way to get these supplies off the base, so the supplies must still be on the base somewhere. Clarke usually works the night shift. If they had gone missing, he would have known about it. Some vacuum tubes went missing too, but then Clarke found them. But all of this information hinges on us passing a very difficult charisma check. What if we're not spec'd into charisma? How could we possibly get this lead that allows us to finish the quest? Well, there is a way, but it's not obvious. Remember when we explored the Pridwin in my recent video? We found an expert-locked footlocker in the barracks. At the time, it didn't have a name. We didn't know who it belonged to. However, after accepting this quest, if we go back to the barracks, we see that the footlocker is now labeled Knight Lucia's footlocker, and the one right next to it is labeled Initiate Clarke's footlocker. We see something glowing on his bed. Beneath the pillow, we find a keychain with a Nuka-Cola Quantum bottle on it that has Clarke's personal key. Looting the key, we can unlock his footlocker. And inside, we find a key to Lucia's personal locker and a note from Lucia. Reading the note in our Pip-Boy, "Have you been in my locker? Clarke, what's going on? After all we've been through, I can't believe you'd do something like this. Look, this is too much, even from you. Touch my things again, and I'm reporting you to the captain." Clarke was rifling through Lucia's locker. Why? With the key in hand, we can open Lucia's footlocker. Inside, we find Knight Lucia's log. Knight Lucia, personal log. We find 4 entries in the first year 2, day 17. Today was my last day as an initiate. Tomorrow morning, I report to the Elder for my commissioning. I'm finally going to be a knight. The Brotherhood is everything I hoped for. Family, honor, security. I've met people with vision and courage, like Elder Maxon. I've made friends like Clarke. I've proven myself in battle. I can't imagine going back to civilian life now. My only regret is that Clarke won't be going through the ceremony with me. We do everything together, but he's been avoiding me lately. I wanted to talk tonight, like we used to, but he just went to bed, said he wasn't feeling well. In the next one, Year 2, Day 18. Today, I stood before the Elder. He spoke of my life before the Brotherhood, my time as an initiate, and my future as a knight. It only took a few minutes, but it felt like the most important conversation of my life. A few of my friends were waiting outside to congratulate me. Even Proctor Ingram came. But not Clarke. I heard later that he hadn't reported for his duty shift on the bridge. No one seemed to know where he was. It was almost midnight before he got back, and he went to bed without saying a word. In the next one, Year 2, Day 23. Clarke and I have been posted to logistics at the base. Working supply may not be as exciting as patrol duty, but it needs to be done. Clarke seems to resent it when he talks to me at all. I'm worried about him. I always looked up to Clarke, but he seems like a different person lately, like he's just given up. At first, I thought he was just jealous, but there's something else going on, something he isn't telling me. If I can get him to open up, maybe we can still work things out. And in the final one, Year 2, Day 34. This is getting out of hand. Clarke has been late to his shifts 3 times this week. Each time, I've found him and made sure he didn't forget again, but I can't keep covering for him like this. I think Sergeant Gavil is starting to suspect something is wrong. When I got back last night, my footlocker was a mess. I think Clarke has been going through my things. What's the matter with him? Why won't he talk to me? With that, our quest log updates to confront Knight Lucia. Before we do, we can head down to the supply depot and talk to Sergeant Gavil about our findings.
Sergeant Gavil.
Was there something else, or are you just wasting my time?
I found Lucia's journal. She's been covering for Clarke.
Reading diaries now, Knight? Petty discipline is my job. I will handle the men in my unit as I see fit. This is none of your concern. Now, is there anything else?
And he just dismisses it. So heading to Knight Lucia, we can confront her.
Never get used to this filing system. Did you need something?
You've been covering for Clarke. Why?
What? What are you talking about?
I read your journal, Lucia. I want to know what's going on here.
You what? All right. Clarke and I joined the Brotherhood around the same time. He's been my closest friend for years, but since the battle, I feel like I'm losing him.
The battle?
Battle for the airport. It was our first real combat mission.
And here she tells us about the battle for the airport again. She concludes her story the same way, asking us to follow Initiate Clarke.
Do you think you could follow him? See what he's doing? Maybe it's nothing, but I'm worried about him.
War tempers the strong and breaks the weak. If that is what happened, he wouldn't be the first. It's not much of a lead, but let's see where it takes us.
All right, that's it for today.
So we can get to this point either by having good charisma or by breaking into Lucia's footlocker. Either way, immediately after this conversation with Lucia, Clarke takes a break. He walks off towards a southwestern door, and we can try to follow him. If we bump into him before he gets too far off base, he just talks to us and waits for us to go away.
Excuse me. Look, I'm off duty. Leave me alone.
Hey.
I don't want to talk right now. Whatever it is, it can wait. Give me some space.
So we've got to be sneaky. Hiding in the bushes, creeping behind a concrete wall, we can try to keep Clarke within sight. But it's hard to do in power armor, and if he catches us, he turns around and races towards us.
Hey, what are you doing out here?
I could ask you the same question.
Look, I'm just out for a walk, all right? I'm not on duty. I can do what I want with my spare time.
Where are you going?
I'm just out for a walk. I need to get away once in a while.
I was following you.
What? I'm just out for a walk. My shift just ended, and I wanted some fresh air. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm just out for a walk, Initiate.
Don't sneak up behind me like that. This place is bad enough. I'm gonna head back in a few minutes. Don't wait up.
With that, he turns around and walks back into the airport. We miss out on our opportunity to follow him, and we'll have to try again at another time. Following him can be pretty tricky. There's a little bit of cover between here and his destination, a ruined airplane, a few bushes. He turns around every now and then to make sure he is not being followed, but if we're careful, if we're sneaky, we can observe him opening and entering a door in the airport ruins. Once he's inside, we can enter the ruins ourselves. On the other side, we find a staircase going down. Once we reach the ground floor, we observe Clarke closing the elevator doors just as we enter.
Going down. Facilities.
He's going downstairs, but the elevator he used has a keycard swiper, and we don't have access. We can't follow him this way, so we need to find another way down. Next to the elevator he took is an empty elevator shaft, but it's blocked with a ruined elevator car. To the south is a pathway that's blocked with a bunch of rubble, but there does appear to be a room over there. There's an escalator going up to a ruined door. We can't go that way. And behind the escalator is a novice locked door. Inside we find a small room with a skeleton, a couple bottles of Nuka-Cola, some caps, and a pipe pistol. To the right of the elevator is a large double door. Opening it, we find a way down. And on this level, we find ghouls.
Ferals! Damn it! They're under the base. Open fire! Hold on.
I don't...
Please watch your step.
The walkway continues west, but there's an open door to the left. Inside, we find the body of a Brotherhood of Steel soldier. It's the corpse of Knight Rylan. On his body are Knight Rylan's holotags. We'll take them with us for now. Back to the walkway, we follow it west. It turns south to a flooded portion of the ruins, filled with more ghouls.
Going, weapons cold.
But this walkway ends at a ruined door. However, we find a rubble ramp leading to a floor above. This brings us to a supply room and a staircase leading further up. We emerge into the parking garage, where we have to kill more ghouls. We find two paths forward, a ramp leading down to the south, and a room off to the east. The room off to the east would have gone up, but it's caved in. All we find here are wrecked cars, rubble, and more skeletons.
Select your targets carefully down here. These automobiles tend to explode when struck by weapons fire.
Though we do find an advanced locked box safe with randomized gear inside. To move forward, we need to take the parking garage ramp down, where we find more ghouls.
I don't think so.
Fire!
Shh. I heard something.
At the bottom, we find the elevators. In one is a skeleton with a combat shotgun. We can peer into the elevator shafts, but we don't see anything of interest. Moving east, we follow the ramp down, where we find even more destroyed cars. This is an incredibly hazardous situation, because if we're not careful, these cars could blow up. Maybe we could use this to our advantage.
We may have a problem. You hear that?
Intruder alert! Target eliminated! For the Brotherhood!
And after killing the glowing one and destroying all of these cars, we continue down, killing more ghouls along the way.
Get him! Down!
At the bottom, we find a path to the left and a path to the right near to the elevator shafts. If we turn left, the parking garage goes down to a flooded section where we find more cars to explode, but nothing else of interest. So turning around, we can pass the elevators and head through a turnstile to fight more ghouls in the subway.
They have nothing past me. Lock and load. Tango down.
Here we find a novice-locked terminal, presumably connected to some turrets. Sure enough, inside we find turret control, but turning it on...
We've got company.
only makes our life harder, as we've already killed the ghouls. So we'll turn it off for now. To the west of us is a small room with a few containers we can loot for scrap. As we loot, more ghouls emerge. We can try to turn that turret on again.
Damn, lost them.
But it just targets Dance and ignores all of the ghouls.
Hostile vaporized. Where's the Brotherhood?
To the east is another room with an ammo canister and a few containers inside. To continue, we move to the tube and follow it east down the tracks. Here we find evidence of a catastrophic subway crash. The cars are derailed and skeletons pour out of the windows and doors. In one of the cars, we find a number of suitcases and duffel bags, and we can shoot through it to kill ghouls at the other end of the tracks.
I heard something.
Leaving the car using a staircase to the north, we find a small side room. Here, we find a first aid kit and some stim packs, as well as a novice-locked security terminal. Hacking it, we can activate nearby turrets, but as all the ghouls are already dead in this room, we're just gonna turn this off again and loot the bodies in the next room. The room is a complete wreck, and we find only one way out, a doorway to the north. This leads to baggage claim, and we can kill all the ghouls.
Terminate them! Send them!
With the ghouls dead, we can explore these side rooms. The men's restroom is empty. The women's restroom has a skeleton holding a pipe revolver, but otherwise it's empty too. The conveyor belts in baggage claim have a number of suitcases and containers that we can loot, and every now and then we find a wayward ghoul. And against the western wall, we find a magazine rack and a terminal. On the magazine rack is a fishing tournament ad. Lake Quannapowitt Bass Fishing Tournament, July 4th, 2077, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sponsored by General Atomics International, the city of Boston. Celebrate Independence Day at beautiful Lake Quannapowitt. Join us for fun, friendly competition, and big cash prizes! Or take in the sights from the nearby General Atomics Galleria, a great getaway for the entire family. And if we hadn't discovered it by then, we get Lake Quannapowitt added to our Pip-Boy map. On the desk is an information desk terminal. Boston Airport Tourist Information Desk, remember, welcome to Boston. Offer to answer questions, guide tourists to affiliates/marketing partners. Here we find 4 entries in the first, flight schedule, server error, connection failed. In the next, food and drink, we find 2 options in the first, Beantown Brewery. Beantown Brewery, 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 12 to 7 p.m. weekends. Get a taste of a true Boston original. See real hops and brewing implements in our visitor center and museum. Then enjoy a tasting of some of Boston's best ales and lagers. Full brewery tours available by appointment only. And if we hadn't discovered it by then, we get the Beantown Brewery added to our Pip-Boy map. In the next, Shamrock Tap House, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 4 a.m. Friday through Sunday. After a hard day's work, nothing beats a night at the pub. Come on down to the Shamrock for good times, good friends, and great deals. Authentic Irish fare, daily drink specials, the finest domestic and European beer, whiskey, and liquors on draft. Slenty! And had we not discovered it by now, we get the Shamrock Tap House added to our Pip-Boy map. Backing out of food and drink, we can now explore shopping. Inside, 2 options. The first, Fallon's Department Store. Hours vary. Whether you're searching for a new piece of jewelry or an entire wardrobe, Fallon's department store is the place to go. With multiple locations throughout the greater Boston area, Fallon's is always there when you need it. Clean, close, convenient. Be sure to visit our flagship store in West Roxbury, now carrying our entire line of merchandise. And with that, we get the Fallon's department store added to our Pip-Boy map. And the last one, Haymarket Mall. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, fine art, handsome furnishings, the cutting edge of modern fashion. If you're looking for a shopping experience that's as classy and sophisticated as you are, look no further than Haymarket Mall. Haymarket, for the finer things in life. We get the location added to our map, and then we can explore attractions. We find 3 options in the first Walk the Freedom Trail, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Explore the fascinating history and enduring legacy of colonial Boston by walking the Freedom Trail. Scheduled tours depart from Boston Common every half hour, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Self-guided tours also available. And after reading this, we get the location of the Boston Common added to our Pip-Boy map. In the next, see the treasures of Jamaica Plain. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily, come and see the fabulous treasures of Jamaica Plain. This stunning exhibit will be on display for 1 week only, before these priceless items are sealed away, never to be seen again. And with that, we get Jamaica Plain added to our Pip-Boy map. And in the final one, visit the Boston Public Library. 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, 1 to 5 on Sundays. The nation's second largest library, the Boston Public Library houses a wide array of books and historical records. Lectures, readings, and recitals are offered daily and are free to the public. Call for times. Art and architectural tours are also available. Visitors to Boston are always welcome. Library books can be returned to any of our book return machines, conveniently located throughout the city. And we get the location added to our map. Lying on the table next to the terminal is a racetrack advertisement. The October Classic, Sunday, October 31st, 2077, at Easy City Downs. Presented by Fallon's Department Stores, in association with the Boston Jockey Club. 3 world-class races with a total purse of $450,000. And with that, we get Easy City Downs added to our Pip-Boy map. Turning back around on the magazine rack, we find a Jamaica Plain flyer. The Treasures of Jamaica Plain, October 17th through the 23rd, 2077, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Come see the fabulous Treasures of Jamaica Plain. This stunning exhibit will be on display for 1 week only, before these priceless items are sealed away, never to be seen again. Bring the entire family to this once-in-a-lifetime event. And that's it for the information kiosk. The staircase to the west is ruined. The pathway to the north is ruined, and we see that this is the same hole we peered through upon arriving inside the ruins. To continue, we need to turn west, where we find a staircase leading down next to the information kiosk. Heading downstairs, we follow a conveyor belt. We see a large room through a window to the right, and we hear a familiar voice.
Come on. Hold on. Give it a try. There, that's it. Not bad, is it? Easy now. Hang on. I'll get you some more.
We see Initiate Clarke standing in a window, overlooking the room below. Peering through the window, we see... ghouls? Is Clarke feeding ghouls? Continuing north, we disable some can chimes and pass through a hole in the wall. But despite our stealth, Clarke sees us.
Huh? Who's there? Come out. You.
Moving forward, we can confront Initiate Clarke.
Clarke.
What are you doing down here?
Okay. What's going on here, Clarke? I was following you. You led me right to the missing supplies.
Damn it.
I want answers, Clarke. Start talking. Or else. I was investigating the missing supplies. It looks like I found them.
Damn it. I thought I was being careful. Someone was bound to catch me eventually. I can't keep this up forever.
Keep what up?
Stealing food.
Out with it.
All right, I stole the damn supplies. Isn't it obvious?
You stole the supplies.
Yes, Knight. I did. I'm in logistics. No one even questioned me when I took them out of the terminal. I've been bringing them down here at night to feed the ghouls. It's been working. So far.
All this food. Have you been feeding these ferals?
Yes. It's been working, too.
At this point, we've solved the case. We could finish up our investigation quickly by executing him.
You've been stealing from the Brotherhood to feed these abominations? That's unforgivable.
Then do what you have to do.
Or we can continue talking with him by using any of the other options.
Of course I'm gonna report this.
I understand, but please, hear me out first.
What do you mean it's been working? Why are you doing this?
It's a long story.
This doesn't make any sense. Why would you do this?
It's a long story. I had a friend who was a ghoul once. As human as you or me. But the Brotherhood says ghouls are abominations. They all deserve to die. Would you kill him too? Just because of who he is?
Was he a feral?
What difference does it make? Weren't they all human once?
I don't know. Yes. No.
See? You understand. I joined the Brotherhood 2 years ago. In all that time, I never doubted our beliefs. Never questioned them. But during the battle for the airport, the ghouls, they just kept coming. I killed, I don't even know how many. They started running away. But we kept going. I killed them. I killed them all.
What did you expect? You knew what the Brotherhood stood for.
But I didn't. Not really. Not until that moment.
They were ghouls.
Yes! But damn it, they were people first!
That's war.
They were just running away. Why did they have to die? We slaughtered them. Like animals.
Kid, you did what you had to do.
That's what Lucia said. But we could have stopped. We could have just driven them off. We didn't have to slaughter them. After the battle, I needed some time to think. I found this place. And the ghouls. What could I do? Report it, and they'd all be killed. Ignore them, and they'd attack the base. I thought, if I brought them food, maybe they'd just stay down here. There wouldn't have to be any more killing. Do you think I did the right thing?
Do you?
I don't know anymore.
You did what you felt was right. That's what matters.
No one else will see it that way. Or care.
It was worth a try.
That's what I thought. But if the ghouls ever find a way out...
Of course not. You betrayed the Brotherhood. You put all of our lives at risk.
The Brotherhood is wrong. If we just kill everything we fear, are we really any better than the ghouls? What are you gonna do with them anyway?
Only by choosing that last option, by saying no, that he didn't do the right thing, do we unlock a dialogue option in this tree to say that we should eradicate them. But we get the same response from him if we choose the kill them option as well.
We do what the Brotherhood expects of us. We eradicate them.
They're a threat to the base. They have to be destroyed.
No, I won't just stand by and let you kill them. Not again.
Are you really going to risk your life for them?
I already have.
If we threaten him...
Where do you stand, Initiate? With these ferals, or with the Brotherhood?
I stand by myself. But I won't stand down.
He turns hostile, and we have to kill him. Or we could try to pass a difficult red charisma check to convince him to stand down. But if we fail...
Stand down, Initiate. That's an order.
I can't. I'm sorry.
He turns hostile, and we have to kill him. But if we pass the charisma check...
Yes, Knight. And what about me?
He stands down, we don't have to kill him, and we now have to decide what to do with him. But if we don't have the charisma to pass that charisma check, we can give him the holotag that we found on Knight Ryland's corpse while exploring the airport ruins.
I found this in the ruins.
It's Knight Ryland's holotag. He worked in the terminal with me. They killed him, didn't they? And as long as they're here, more Knights are gonna die. I can't be responsible for that.
With that, he stands down, and we now have to decide what to do with him. But going back to the eradicate or kill them choices, we find a few options that point us down a different direction. If we didn't tell him that he did the wrong thing, the eradicate option is missing, and instead we find a nothing option. All options here except for the kill them option leads to the same dialogue tree.
What do you think we should do?
Just let them be. So long as they stay here, they aren't hurting anyone.
I don't know yet.
It's not easy, is it?
I won't say anything.
As long as we can keep them here, out of sight, no one will ever know. And what about me?
Now we have to decide what to do with Clarke, which is the same dialogue tree we would have gotten to had we managed to convince him to stand down after saying we were going to kill the ghouls. All of these options change the ending to the quest. We could condemn him.
You've betrayed the Brotherhood of Steel. That's unforgivable.
Then do what you have to do.
In which case he turns hostile and we have to kill him. We could tell him to run.
I have to report this. When I do, they'll come for you. You need to get away before that happens.
Leave the Brotherhood? Just like that? You're right. I don't have a future here.
In which case he hangs out here for a while, but after we leave, he disappears from the game. Or we could promise to lie for him.
I won't tell anyone. Just make sure I don't regret it.
You won't. I'll find some other way to feed them. No one else will ever know.
In which case he still hangs out here for a while, but he doesn't disappear from the game. Or we could try to pass a charisma check to convince him to turn himself in. If we fail it...
You should turn yourself in.
What? No. You know the captain. I won't even get a fair hearing.
But if we succeed...
I suppose so. The captain will never understand. But it's the honorable thing to do. You might respect that at least. I need a few minutes to get my thoughts together. Go on ahead. The elevator's in the next room. You can use my keycard. I'll be up soon.
In which case he hangs around in this room and he doesn't disappear from the game. Instead, he turns himself in for judgment. Now, he gave us a keycard. We're supposed to use it on the elevator. If, however, we told him we'd leave the ghouls alone and instead use the keycard to open the door to where the ghouls are...
Damn it! No!
He turns hostile, and we have to kill him. If we kill him on his body, we find Clarke's personal key, which opens the footlocker by his bed, the airport facilities key, an airport employee ID card, Initiate Clarke's holotag, and Initiate Clarke's log. Reading the log in our Pip-Boy, Initiate Clarke, personal log. Welcome, Clarke. Please select an entry. We find 3 options in the first trip 7, 5 more crates today, 3 cram, 1 mac and cheese, and some kind of dried meat. Judging from the stench, probably mole rat. The ghouls didn't touch the mac, but they almost came to blows over the mole rat jerky. They even ate the cram. I think they're starting to get used to it by now. In the next one, trip 8, ghouls were agitated today. I didn't get enough food. Of the 4 crates, 1 was mac and cheese again, and 2 were mislabeled vacuum tubes. That only left 1 pack of cram to go around. And here we learn why the vacuum tubes went missing. They were mislabeled.
Do you know anything about the missing supplies?
Not really. I've heard it's mostly food and, vacuum tubes? No, sorry, they just lost those.
You lost some vacuum tubes?
Someone had just filed them in the wrong place, apparently. Clarke found them the next day.
And this is why Clarke was the one who returned them. He brought them thinking they were food. I have to be more careful, or this whole thing is going to fall apart. If the ghouls get hungry enough to start raiding the base, someone else will find the tunnels and report them to the captain. I can't have any more deaths on my hands. And in the last one, trip 9, 6 crates today, all meat. That should be enough to satisfy them for a couple of days. I'm going to have to cut back. I think people are starting to get suspicious. The scribes ran a full inventory today. Knight Rylan has been watching me, and Lucia, I don't think she's figured it out yet, but I can't take any chances. I'll check her journal when I get back to the ship, just to be safe. And that's why he raided her locker, to see whether or not she was on to him. On the desk by the terminal is an airport employee ID card, which is identical to the one on his body, and the one that he can give us if we part peacefully. On the desk is an expert-locked facilities terminal. I couldn't hack it, but if we could, this allows us to turn on the protectrons in the room below.
Powering up. Protectron on duty.
Remember the Citadel!
And naturally, we find a bunch of food here. Cram, Blamco mac and cheese, mole rat meat, all lying out and not set to owned. If Clarke is dead, or if we convinced him that the ghouls need to be eradicated, we can use the ID card to open the door to the room below, and Clarke won't turn hostile. We can now eradicate the ghouls, which is a lot easier with the Protectrons helping us, but I didn't have that luxury. If we couldn't hack the expert lock terminal above, we find an advanced lock facilities terminal on the ground floor by the ghouls. It also allows us to activate the Protectrons, but of course requires a bit more stealth. After killing the ghouls on this floor, we can explore it. There's a room to the right, which leads to a hallway filled with ghouls.
Found them!
Extermination is the best these ferals deserve.
At the end of the hall is a door leading back out to the large room we already explored. We can loot some containers and loot a fusion core from a fusion generator on a platform. In the southeast section of this room is a door that leads to a back room inhabited by a glowing one.
For the...
With the glowing one dead, we can explore this back room. Inside we find an advanced locked box safe with randomized goodies inside and a couple of containers to loot. With the room clear, we can leave the airport ruins. In the back of the room where we found Clarke is a door leading north. Here we find the elevators and an end of dungeon steamer trunk. Using Clarke's keycard on the elevator, we can take it back up and then exit the way we came. Sergeant Gavil and Lucia don't have any updated dialogue until we complete the quest, so at this point we need to head back to the Prydwen and check in with Captain Kells.
Report, Knight. Have you completed your investigation into the missing supplies?
At this point, we could do what Sergeant Gavil initially asked us to do.
Poke around a little, then tell the captain to let it go.
It's the same thing we optionally could have promised Clarke that we would do.
I won't tell anyone.
And that's to lie to Captain Kells and tell him that there was no problem.
I don't believe there were any thefts, Captain. The reports were wrong.
That's what Sergeant Gavil said. Very well. I'll have Tegan keep a closer watch on his men. These mistakes are a waste of everyone's time. Very well. We'll consider this matter closed.
Or we could say that we found nothing.
I'm sorry. I wasn't able to learn anything new.
I'm disappointed, Knight. I'll have our food stores moved and double the guard. I suppose that's the best we can do for now. Very well. We'll consider this matter closed.
Or we could pass a charisma check to lie and say that ghouls stole the food. But if we fail...
Feral ghouls stole them.
What? Ferals? That's ridiculous. They'd eat us before they went for our rations. Who really took them?
But if we succeed...
You can't be serious. Feral ghouls snuck into our base, raided supplies, and escaped multiple times without anyone noticing?
You underestimate them. An entire den of ferals has been living in the ruins beneath the airport, and you never even noticed.
The old tunnels. God, we built our base right on top of a ghoul den. I'll dispatch knights to scour the ruins. This time there will be no survivors. We'll consider this matter closed. Good work, Knight. You have real potential. I have some caps for your service.
If we choose any of those three options, we complete the quest, but we get no quest reward aside from caps. We can then go back down to the airport and speak with Sergeant Gavil.
You again? You here to count toothpicks now? Or do you want to pester my knights with more pointless questions? Move along. We've got real work to do here, Knight.
We find Initiate Clarke walking around.
Hey, Clarke.
Everything is still under control. I'll make it work. Somehow.
And we can talk to Lucia.
Clarke is back to his old self again. I don't know what you did, but thank you.
But that was just one of the ways we could have solved the quest. We could tell the truth about Clarke, which unlocks a new set of options.
The ruins beneath the airport are filled with ghouls. Initiate Clarke has been stealing rations to feed them.
He was what? God, you're serious. He betrayed his oath to the Brotherhood, stole our supplies, and tried to help those abominations? Where is he? What happened to him?
What's going to happen to him?
He's still a member of the Brotherhood. Even after this treason, he has a right to a fair trial.
If, for any reason, we killed Clarke, we find the following options.
The Ferals killed him.
Fitting.
He's dead.
I expected as much.
I executed him. Here's his tag.
You just killed him? He was a member of the Brotherhood, Knight. He had a right to a trial before the Elder. Still, after what he did, death might well have been his fate. In any event, what's done is done. It's a shame. I had high hopes for him. Very well. We'll consider this matter closed. I have some caps for your service.
We complete the quest, but again, we only get caps and experience as a reward. Choosing this option, if we head back down to the airport, we can talk to Gavil.
I heard about Clarke. It seems I owe you an apology. I've taken steps to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. And I'll try to be a little more respectful in the future.
And we can talk to Lucia.
I heard about Clarke. Been a little hard for me to take, but thank you for finding the truth. It had to be done.
If, however, we convinced him to run,
Leave the Brotherhood? Just like that?
we find completely different options. We could tell Kells we don't know.
I don't know. He escaped.
After all that, you let him get away? Damn it!
We could say that we exiled him, and in my game, this option was a bit bugged.
I'll send some
exiled him.
knights to arrest him and secure the evidence. He has a right to a trial before the Elder. But from what you've said today, I don't think the outcome is in any doubt.
Or we could say that he fled.
He fled. He's probably long gone by now.
I expected as much. It's a shame. I had high hopes for him. Very well. We'll consider this matter closed. I have some caps for your service.
And again, if we solve the quest this way, our only reward is experience and caps. Heading down to the airport, we can talk to Sergeant Gavil.
I heard about Clarke. It seems I owe you an apology. I've taken steps to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. And I'll try to be a little more respectful in the future.
And tonight, Lucia.
I heard about Clarke. Been a little hard for me to take, but thank you for finding the truth. It had to be done.
And Clarke is gone. If, however, we convinced him to turn himself in,
You should turn yourself in.
I suppose so.
Captain Kells is already aware of the situation.
I've just received word from Sergeant Gavil. Initiate Clarke has made a full confession. I gather we have you to thank for it. Clarke has been taken into custody, and I've dispatched a patrol team to secure the ruins. I don't think I could have asked for a better outcome. I have some caps for your service. Also, I'd like you to have a piece of armor from my personal collection. Wear it well, Knight.
And in addition to the experience and the caps, we get the Exemplar's T-60C Torso Power Armor piece. One of the few, very rare, legendary power armor pieces. It grants us a 10% reduction in action point cost in VATS. He then goes on to offer us another quest, which I'll cover in an upcoming episode. But for now, we can head back down to the airport and talk to Sergeant Gavil.
I still can't believe it. Clarke confessed to that whole crazy scheme. I've taken steps to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. And I'll try to be a little more respectful in the future.
And tonight, Lucia.
I heard about Clarke. Been a little hard for me to take, but thank you for finding the truth. It had to be done.
As for Clarke, well, he's nowhere to be found at the airport. Instead, we need to head to the Cambridge police station. Heading to the holding cells, we find Clarke in one of the cells. Before talking with him, we can inspect the lockup terminal. Inside, we find three options. In the first, Clarke. Prisoner D. Clarke, rank Initiate, charges larceny, dereliction, aiding the enemy. Notes: Initiate Clarke is to be held pending trial by the Elder. Status: incarcerated. There are a few more here in the next Knight Rees. Prisoner L. Rees, rank Knight, charges disorderly conduct. Notes: due to Knight Rees' recent acts of uncommon valor, all charges have been dropped. Status: released. And in the final one, Cole. Prisoner R. Cole, rank Knight, charges alcohol and drug use while on duty. Notes: Knight Cole is continuing to exhibit symptoms of addiction, including auditory and visual hallucinations. Scribe Halen should monitor his unusual and disturbing behavior and report any suspicious activity to Elder Maxon. Status: released. Since he's sleeping right now, we can't reach him to talk with him. So if we wait till morning, we can talk to him through the bars.
Turning myself in was the right thing to do, but it doesn't make this any easier.
Clarke.
I wonder what's gonna happen to me.
And there Clarke stays for the remainder of the game. Despite Captain Kells telling us that he was going to send a patrol team to secure the ruins, if we return to the ruins after killing all the ghouls, we don't find anyone there. Even after waiting 3 or more days, we don't find any soldiers patrolling the ruins. So perhaps they came, saw that it was secure, and left. No matter how we choose to resolve the quest, we immediately start the next one, which I'll cover in my next episode. I really loved this quest. There were a ton of different options and many different ways to resolve it. One of the best quests in the game, in my opinion. Thanks for watching, everybody. I publish new Fallout episodes each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss my next one, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a plush for sale, and it's almost sold out. I checked the numbers just yesterday, and I've only got around 40 left. So if you want to make sure you get one before they're gone, snag one today. I've also got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in another way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and they gain access to ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.